Hi, I'm Rich Heffron. This is this week's Delaware State Chamber Legislative Minute. This week we're just going to quickly go over some of the positives from the last legislative session as far as the business community would be concerned and some of the concerns that are still there. Among the positives is the fact that a couple pieces of legislation won, some reforms to this JEET law, which we think people will feel more comfortable with, corporations who are in this JEET process. Also, we tweaked the workers' comp law a little bit more, hopefully towards even lower health care cost, which should keep our rates in the low range we're now. Out of 50 states, we're rated about number 35, with 1 being the worst, 50 being the best, which is much better than we were several years ago. We were number 4 in the country. Some of the other things is we got the infrastructure legislation through. And also included in that was some changes to the prevailing wage legislation, which will help lower some costs, and also beginning of the transfer of operating funds out of the Transportation Trust Fund into the operating budget, starting with $5 million this year. It's not going to cover the whole cost, but it's beginning. It's a beginning to covering those costs in the operating budget and allowing the Transportation Trust Fund to be what it was intended to be, which is capital funding. Also, money, and there was a movement to remove money of the strategic fund out of the bond bill. We got that money put back in, which is important for reasons of economic development. Some of the concerns we have is, one, they did not eliminate the estate tax, which we thought was important since we actually barely cover our costs from what we collect, and also wealthy people will go somewhere else if they believe they're going to have to pay an estate tax. We don't think that helps the state of Delaware. Obviously, we have concerns about the long-term implications of the next year's budget deficit of about $160 million, although there were two positives on that side. One is the revenue report from DFACT, which looks at potential revenues, changes in revenue. We made the argument for 3 years now. Our current revenue structure is not sustainable. Also, the Joint Finance Committee has hired the Pew Foundation to look at spending, state spending, and also we expect to report fairly soon on state spending, an independent report from that was put together by several business organizations headed up by the Business Roundtable, which we were part of. That should be here anytime soon. Also, other concerns is there will be a minimum wage bill. Will come back up next year. We need to look closely at that. Also, when we talk about revenue, are there going to be increases in either the PIT or maybe in the corporate franchise tax, or even possibly in the gross receipts tax? Yeah, we'll look at that. We'll look at it closely, but there's some of the concerns we'll be facing in the next year. The big one being how do we establish sustainable revenues for the state in the out years, and also how do we fill the $160 million deficit next year. Anyway, that's it for this week. Next week we'll look at some other items outside the regulatory items outside the legislative process. Thank you very much for watching.